Why do some people almost never appear on social media? No updates. No photos. No opinions. No little pieces of their daily life. Is it because they have nothing to share? Or because their life has become too quiet? Are they lonely? Are they hiding something? Or have they understood something about peace that most people only realize much later? Because sometimes, the people who post the least are not empty. They are not lost. And they are not always sad.
Quiet person is sad.
They may be carrying a kind of inner world that does not need to be displayed. Tonight, here on Blissful Journey, we'll explore 7 quiet traits, often found in people who rarely post online. And one of them may explain something about you.
Something must be wrong. Maybe they're lonely. Maybe life got hard. What if we misunderstood them?
And maybe this is where we misunderstand people the most. Because when someone becomes quiet online, our minds rush to conclusions. Something must be wrong. Maybe life became lonely. Maybe they are struggling. Maybe they have nothing left worth sharing. But psychology paints a more complicated picture. For years, psychologists have studied something called external validation, our natural desire to feel seen, approved of, and emotionally confirmed by other people. And to be clear, there is nothing wrong with that. We all want to feel understood. We all want to feel that our life matters, especially when we are younger. A beautiful memory feels more complete when someone else smiles at it too. But something interesting happens over time. A 2016 study published in Psychology of Popular Media Culture found that frequent social media sharing is often connected to things like seeking validation, comparison habits, and emotional reward loops. Again, this does not mean posting is bad. Not at all. Sometimes sharing is joyful, human, beautiful. But psychology quietly suggests something important. There is often a difference between sharing your life and needing your life to be seen. And many people, especially after disappointment, heartbreak, betrayal, or simply growing older, begin to feel that difference more deeply. Because maturity rarely arrives loudly. No speech. No announcement. Just small changes. You stop explaining every happiness. You stop documenting every peaceful moment. You stop needing proof that your life matters. And maybe maturity arrives quietly. Not when life becomes less beautiful, but when beauty no longer needs witnesses. And strangely, that brings us to the first quiet trait. When we are younger, most of us want to be seen. And honestly, there is nothing wrong with that. A beautiful trip. A promotion you worked hard for. A meal with people you love. A new relationship. A quiet moment of happiness. Of course we want to share it. Because being witnessed feels comforting. It makes joy feel real. Almost complete. And for many years, we quietly ask a question without realizing it. Do people see me? Does this matter? Will people care? But something changes in some people as life moves forward. Not suddenly. Almost invisibly. They stop reaching for their phone during beautiful moments. They stop explaining every happiness. They stop feeling the urge to prove they are okay. Not because they became cold. Not because they gave up. But because something inside them became calmer.
It's hard to make
Instead
time.
of asking,
Maybe if we try
will
more
people
often?
like this? They slowly begin asking, did this moment mean something to me? And strangely, That small shift changes everything. Psychologists at the University of Pennsylvania found something deeply human. The more people compare themselves online, the lower life satisfaction often becomes. Not always, but often enough to matter, because comparison is exhausting. Someone is always happier, richer, healthier, more successful, more loved. And after enough years, many adults stop chasing that invisible race. Not through books, not through motivational quotes, but through exhaustion, through heartbreak, through disappointment, through quietly realizing that constantly being seen does not always make a person feel connected. Sometimes, it only makes them feel more observed. And maybe this is why some people slowly disappear online. Not because life became smaller,
Not bitter.
but because
Just
peace
careful.
became more valuable than attention. Because at some point, many people quietly discover this. The most meaningful moments in life often feel different when they belong only to you.
Privacy is not secrecy. Sometimes, it is healed pain. How does my life look? How does my life feel?
People who rarely post online often observe more than they speak. Not because they are cold, not because they are judging everyone, but because they spend less energy performing and more energy noticing. They notice the small things, the tone in someone's voice, the silence after a sentence, the smile that arrives a little too late, the way someone changes after you succeed, the way someone disappears when you struggle, the way some people only support you when your life is convenient for them. And after a certain age, you begin to understand something. People reveal themselves less through words and more through patterns. Psychologists have studied what they call high self monitoring personalities. People who are especially sensitive to social cues, emotional shifts, facial expressions, and changes in tone. Many quiet people become good at this, not because they were born suspicious, but because life taught them to listen beyond language. At a family dinner, for example, there is always that one person who talks the least. They are not trying to dominate the room. They are not trying to prove anything. But somehow, they notice the tension before anyone names it. They notice who is uncomfortable, who is forcing a smile, who has changed, who is pretending everything is fine.
Not everyone watching you.
And maybe
wants
that
the
is why
best
some
for
people
you.
stop posting so much. Because once you learn to observe deeply, you stop feeling the need to announce everything you see. Quiet people often know more than they say. They simply stopped announcing what they noticed. And sometimes, the reason people become quieter online is much simpler than we think. They were hurt. Not dramatically, just enough to change them. A woman in her 40s once said something painfully honest. I used to post everything, until I realized people were quietly collecting pieces of my life. Some compared. Some judged. Some smiled kindly in front of her, and spoke differently when she left the room. And after enough disappointment, she changed. Not bitter. Not angry. Just quieter. More careful. Psychologists sometimes describe this through something called emotional safety. When trust is broken, people naturally reduce emotional exposure, including online. Because once you felt misunderstood, or quietly betrayed, privacy starts feeling less like distance, and more like protection. And maybe this is something many adults Slowly learn, not everyone watching your life is rooting for your peace. Sometimes privacy is not secrecy. Sometimes, it is healed pain. And maybe this is another quiet shift that happens with age. Many people reach a moment where they stop asking, "How does my life look?" and begin asking, "How does my life feel?" Because after a while, constant sharing becomes tiring. Not posting, performing. The pressure to look happy, successful, interesting, healed. Like life is always moving beautifully, and many adults quietly grow tired of that. Tired of explaining. Tired of proving. Tired of comparing. Psychologists sometimes call this social fatigue, the emotional exhaustion that comes from constantly managing how we are seen. And for many people, peace begins the moment they stop performing. Because not everything meaningful wants to be displayed. Some moments feel more alive when they stay private. A quiet dinner. A walk at sunset. A good day no one else knows about. And strangely, many people who post less also tend to think more. Sometimes too much. They replay conversations. Think about life late at night. Question people. Question themselves. Try to understand what others miss. Not always happier. Sometimes lonelier. Sometimes overthinkers. But deeply reflective. And maybe, that is why some people have quiet profiles, because their loudest conversations happen inside their own minds.
What if silence isn't sadness?
And maybe this is one of the hardest truths adulthood quietly teaches. Not everyone watching your life wants the best for you. Some people compare. Some quietly resent. Some smile warmly, and still feel uncomfortable when things go well for you. It sounds painful. Because it is. And after enough experience, many people stop sharing everything. Not dramatically. Quietly, they stop announcing every success, every plan, every happy moment. Not because they became unhappy, but because happiness started feeling safer when protected. You may have seen this before. Someone gets good news. A promotion. A new relationship. A small dream finally working out. And suddenly, the opinions arrive. The criticism. The subtle negativity disguised as advice. And after enough of that, people learn boundaries. Not loud boundaries. Not angry ones.
So easy.
Quiet boundaries. Psychologists often describe this as boundary maturity.
Gotcha.
The emotional wisdom of learning.
This
Not
is
everyone
blissful
deserves
journey.
full access to your inner life, because peace often arrives quietly. The moment you stop giving strangers access to places inside you they never learned how to protect. And strangely, this leads to the final trait. People who post less online may actually be happier than you think. Because social media quietly taught us something misleading, that visible happiness must be real happiness. But psychology keeps finding something different. More visibility does not automatically mean more well-being. Sometimes, the happiest people are not the loudest. They are simply living. Cooking dinner, taking walks, reading at night, laughing with family, healing quietly, building a peaceful life that no longer needs applause. And maybe that is why peaceful lives rarely look impressive online. Because the calmest chapters of life are often too meaningful to constantly interrupt and explain. Maybe, after many years, people don't become quiet because they have less to say. They become quiet because they have finally understood how rare real peace is. There was a time when they wanted life to be witnessed. A good meal. A new place. A happy day. A small achievement. They wanted someone to see it, to say it mattered, to make the moment feel more real. But slowly, life teaches people something. Not everyone who watches you understands you. Not every beautiful moment grows stronger when exposed. And not every happiness survives the noise of other people's opinions. So they begin to protect what is gentle. Not because they are sad, but because they are tired of letting the world touch everything sacred. And maybe that is what real happiness becomes with age. Not something loud. Not something impressive. Not something you need to prove. But a quiet room where your heart no longer performs. A simple morning that feels enough. A walk you take without photographing it. A life that feels peaceful even when nobody is clapping. This is blissful journey. And if there is one thing to remember, let it be this: some people stopped posting, not because life became smaller, but because they finally found a life they no longer needed to explain.